At a family dinner, my sister announced she was moving in. Too bad the house wasn't mine anymore. Hello, besties. Welcome to Emma's Tales. Please subscribe and leave a like for us. It means the world to us. Also, share this video with your loved ones and turn on post notifications so you don't miss future videos from us. Thank you. As you do so, sit back and relax as we dive into this story. The chandelier above the dining table shimmered, its light casting a golden glow across polished oak. The table had been set with a kind of precision that didn't belong to a normal Sunday. Fine china gleamed, the kind that only came out on holidays, and cloth napkins had been folded into stiff little triangles. The air carried the warm scent of roasted chicken, garlic butter, and rosemary, underscored by the faint fizz of champagne bubbling in crystal flukes. It should have been comforting. It should have felt like home. But Eden sat stiffly, her knife sliding through a slice of chicken, each movement too careful, too precise, as though she could carve away her unease along with the meat. Her family was loud in that familiar way, her father talking over her mother, her cousins laughing too hard at a story they'd all heard before. She nodded at the right moments, smiled faintly when eyes flicked her way, but her mind was elsewhere. There was an undercurrent in the air she couldn't place, a tension humming just beneath the chatter, as though everyone knew something she didn't. And then Naomi cleared her throat. Eden's sister didn't need to speak loudly to command attention. She never had. A certain confidence radiated from her, chin tilted just so, posture poised, expression rehearsed. She set her wine glass down with deliberate grace and smiled around the table like a queen surveying her court. "I have an announcement," Naomi said. Forks stilled. Chairs squeaked as people leaned in. Even their father, usually unbothered by family theatrics, glanced up from his plate. Naomi let the moment stretch, savoring it. "I'll be moving in with Eden," she declared. "Next month." The words landed like a slap. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. For a moment, the only sound was the faint fizz of champagne and the hum of the refrigerator in the background. Then a nervous chuckle broke from one of the cousins, quickly stifled when Naomi's smile didn't waver. Eden froze, her fork halfway to her mouth. "What?" "You heard me." Naomi shrugged, as though it were obvious. "It makes sense. My lease is up, my landlord's a nightmare, and honestly, I deserve better. Eden's house has plenty of space, and she's living there all alone. Wasting it, really. So I'll move in. It'll be perfect." "Perfect." The word echoed in Eden's head, mocking her. She lowered her fork carefully, forcing herself to keep her face still, though her stomach twisted. "You didn't ask me," she said softly. Naomi gave a little laugh, breezy and dismissive. "We're sisters. I didn't think I had to." Their mother clapped her hands together, eyes shining. "Oh, darling, that's wonderful. Of course you should stay with your sister. Family helps family. That's how it's supposed to be." Eden's pulse hammered in her ears. She looked to her father, searching for some kind of support, but he only poured himself another glass of wine, eyes fixed on the liquid as though it were suddenly fascinating. Naomi leaned forward, the excitement in her voice rising. "It'll be fun, like when we were kids. Remember, Eden? Staying up late, whispering in the dark. Only now we'll have an entire house. I can already picture it." The cousins giggled, chiming in with teasing suggestions about movie nights and shared wardrobes. The aunt at Eden's left murmured approvingly, "That house really is too much for one person." Eden's throat tightened. The house. Her house, or what had once been hers. She swallowed hard against the truth pressing at her lips. "Not now. Not here." Naomi went on, basking in the glow of her audience. "I'll take the room at the back, the one with the big window. It gets the best light in the mornings. And maybe I'll finally set up that little studio I've been dreaming about. You'll thrive there, their mother agreed warmly, beaming at both of them as though the decision had already been made. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Eden stared at the roasted potatoes glistening in butter. She stared at the champagne flutes lined like soldiers, at the perfect folds of the napkins, at the silverware polished so thoroughly it caught her reflection in warped fragments. She saw it then. The champagne, the china, the orchestrated cheer. This dinner wasn't a gathering. It was a performance, and she was the audience of one. Her grip tightened on her fork, the cool metal digging into her palm. Every word Naomi spoke, every nod from their mother, every murmured agreement from the table pressed down on her, stripping away her voice. Finally, her mother turned to her, expectant, eyes bright. Eden, sweetheart, say something. Tell your sister she's welcome. Every face turned. Her cousins leaned forward, grinning. Her aunt raised her brows, curious. Her father shifted in his chair, but didn't look up. Naomi's smile sharpened, daring her. The weight of their stares pressed into Eden's chest. Her mouth went dry. She wanted to scream, to tell them the truth, that the house wasn't hers anymore, that the choice wasn't theirs to make, that this entire charade was built on a lie they didn't know yet. But the words tangled in her throat. She set her fork down carefully. The scrape of metal against porcelain echoed louder than it should have, like a cymbal crashing. Her hands trembled, but when she spoke, her voice was steady. No. The words sliced through the silence like a blade. Naomi blinked, the smile faltering. What? You can't move in, Eden said. Her chest burned, but she held Naomi's gaze. That's not happening. The air thickened. Their mother's face crumpled in confusion. Eden, darling, what are you saying? She's your sister. I'm saying she can't just decide to live with me without asking, Eden replied, her voice firmer now. This is my home, my life. You don't get to announce it like it's already settled. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. The aunt cleared her throat sharply. Well, that's unexpected. Naomi's cheeks flushed a blotchy red. She shoved her chair back, the legs scraping the floor. You'd really do this to me? After everything I've been through? You'd rather see me on the street than let me stay in that empty house of yours. Eden's fists clenched under the table, nails biting into her palms. She wanted to shout, to tear the truth out into the open. But instead, she forced herself to stay calm. I'd rather see you respect me, she said. The silence that followed was suffocating. The cousins shifted uncomfortably. The aunt shook her head in disapproval. Their mother's mouth opened, then closed, as though she couldn't decide whether to scold or plead. Their father finally looked up, his face unreadable. Naomi stared at her, eyes glittering with betrayal and rage. For once, she had no words. And Eden, though her stomach churned, though her heart thundered, sat still. She didn't apologize. She didn't explain. Not yet. The truth would come in its time. But tonight, she had drawn her line. And everyone in the room knew it. The night after the dinner, the silence in Eden's home pressed on her like a weight. She sat in the living room, the same one Naomi had practically claimed with her declaration, staring at the faint outlines of furniture under the dim glow of a lamp. The smell of roasted chicken still clung faintly to her hair, and she couldn't shake the sound of her sister's voice announcing a decision that had never belonged to her. Her phone buzzed. She glanced at it on the coffee table. A message from her mother. We'll talk tomorrow, darling. Please reconsider. Family needs family. The knot in Eden's chest pulled tighter. She didn't reply. She turned the phone face down, picked at the hem of her sweater, and sat still until the house creaked and groaned in the night like it was alive. By morning, the storm had begun. The first call came from her aunt. Eden answered only because ignoring it felt worse. "Sweetheart," her aunt began in a voice dripping with sweetness that didn't hide the sharpness beneath. "I don't understand what came over you last night. Naomi is struggling, and you have space. Why would you deny her? It's not like you need all those rooms to yourself. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button." Eden gripped the phone. "It's not about space. It's about respect." Her aunt sighed heavily, the kind of sigh designed to make someone feel small. "Respect? Eden, sometimes we do things for family that we don't feel like doing. That's part of love. Don't be selfish." The word struck like a dart. Selfish. Eden swallowed hard, resisting the urge to defend herself. "I'm not." But her aunt cut her off. "Think about how hard Naomi's life has been. She's always been the one who needs more support. Your parents worry about her every day. This would take a load off their minds." Eden murmured something noncommittal and hung up as quickly as she could. Her hand trembled as she set the phone down. By afternoon, her cousin called, breezy and casual at first, but quickly circling back to the same point. "It'd be fun, Eden, like a sleepover. Don't you want that? Don't you want your sister close?" Later, another call, this time from her father. His voice was gruff, tired. "Why are you making this so hard, Eden? She's family. You're making yourself look cold." Each word chipped away at her resolve, leaving her raw and bruised. By evening, she stopped answering altogether. But Naomi didn't need the phone. 2 days after the dinner, Eden returned home from the grocery store to find Naomi sitting on her front steps, sunglasses perched on her head, a coffee cup in her hand as though she belonged there. "Perfect timing," Naomi chirped, standing to take one of the bags from her. "I was just imagining how we'll set up the living room. I'll need a corner for my easel. You don't mind, right?" Eden's stomach sank. "Naomi, you can't just show up here." Naomi rolled her eyes. "Don't be dramatic. I had to see the space again, start planning. The back room will be mine, of course. You should move some of your boxes out of the closet. There's barely room for my clothes." She breezed past Eden into the house, calling over her shoulder, "Oh, and we'll definitely repaint. This beige is depressing. Something warmer. You'll thank me later." Eden set the grocery bags on the counter, her hands shaking. She wanted to scream, to force Naomi out physically, but her voice caught. Instead, she watched as Naomi wandered the house with the air of someone already unpacking in her mind. By the time Naomi finally left, after leaving behind a pile of magazines and a sweater draped over a chair as though marking territory, Eden collapsed onto the couch, exhausted. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. The house no longer felt like hers. It hadn't for a while. Her eyes drifted to the mantel, bare now except for a single photo she hadn't taken down yet. Her and her ex-husband on the porch, smiling with forced brightness. That porch had once felt like a dream fulfilled. Buying the house had been their fresh start, the symbol of stability she thought would last. But stability had turned out to be an illusion. The marriage collapsed within 2 years, and with it, her ability to hold on to a home too big for one person, too expensive for her salary, too haunted by echoes of a life she no longer lived. Selling it had been both necessity and freedom. The papers were signed weeks ago, the closing date set. Soon, she would be somewhere new, somewhere smaller, somewhere hers. But no one knew that yet. Not Naomi, not her parents, not her aunt with her pointed sighs. She hadn't told them. She hadn't been ready. And now, her silence painted her as the villain. Over the following week, the pressure grew relentless. Her mother stopped by, with casseroles that came with sermons tucked between spoonfuls. Her father sent her clipped texts, "This isn't how we raised you." Her aunt's voice appeared in voicemails, growing sharper with each one. Naomi dropped hints in the family group chat, speaking as though her move was already arranged. "Can't wait to be closer to everyone once I'm at Eden's." Earning heart emojis and thumbs up from relatives who never asked Eden's side. Everywhere she turned, she was cast as the obstacle, the selfish sister, the cold daughter. One night, unable to sleep, she sat by the window in the living room, the glow of the street lamps painting shadows across the floor. Her phone buzzed on the coffee table again. Another message, this time from her cousin. "Just let her stay. You have nothing to lose." Nothing to lose. Eden laughed bitterly under her breath. She had everything to lose. The house wasn't even hers. And the day they all found out, the real storm would begin. She pushed the thought away, curling into herself, her arms around her knees. For now, silence was her only defense. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. But silence didn't protect her from what she overheard. It happened on a Sunday, a week after the dinner. She had stopped by her parents' house to drop off a book her mother had lent her, intending to slip in and out quickly, avoid conversation. But as she stepped inside, voices floated from the kitchen, low, urgent, not meant for her ears. "She's being cruel," her aunt was saying. "I don't recognize her anymore." What kind of sister refuses to help her own blood? Her mother's voice followed, weary but firm. "I know. I can't understand it either. Eden's always been so giving. It's like she's turned hard, cold. Maybe that house has changed her." Naomi's voice cut in, choked with carefully measured emotion. "She doesn't care about me. She never has. She just wants to see me fail. She's punishing me, and for what? For being honest about needing help. She'll regret this," her father muttered. "Mark my words, she'll regret treating her family this way." Eden stood frozen in the hallway, the book clutched to her chest, her heart pounding so loudly she feared it would give her away. She was the villain now, the selfish one, the cruel one, and they believed it. Every word. She backed out silently, the door clicking shut behind her, the chill of the evening air hitting her face like a slap. She walked quickly to her car, her chest tight, her breath sharp. They didn't know the truth. They didn't care to ask. In their story, she had already been written as the enemy. And in that moment, Eden realized she wasn't just fighting for her space anymore. She was fighting for her name, her very place in the family she'd thought would always be hers. It started with a cardboard box. Eden came home late on a Wednesday, weary from a day spent trying to drown out her family's voices in her head, and there it was, sitting squarely on her porch like it belonged. A box, taped unevenly, with Naomi's name scrawled across the side in thick black marker. Her first instinct was denial. Maybe a delivery driver had left it at the wrong address. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like. But then she saw the pink sweater sticking out through the half-open flap, one she recognized immediately as Naomi's. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Her stomach dropped. She carried the groceries inside, her arms heavy, her chest hollow. She told herself she'd deal with it later, when she had the strength. But later came too soon. The next day there were 3 more. By the weekend, nearly a dozen boxes cluttered the porch, lined up like soldiers awaiting orders. Some sagged at the edges, overstuffed with clothes. Others were neatly labeled, books, kitchen, art supplies. Naomi wasn't asking anymore. She was moving in by force of will. On Saturday morning, Eden stepped outside to find Naomi herself unloading the trunk of her car. She wore sunglasses pushed to the top of her head, her hair tied back in a ponytail, the easy grin of someone completely certain of victory. Perfect timing, Naomi said brightly, hoisting a box into her arms. Can you grab the other one? It's heavy. Eden stood frozen on the porch, fists clenched. What are you doing? Naomi rolled her eyes. What does it look like? I'm moving in. Don't start this again, Eden. You've had a week to get used to it. You can't just... I can. Naomi brushed past her, the box bumping against Eden's shoulder as she carried it inside. This is happening whether you like it or not. Everyone agrees it's the right thing. You're the only one fighting it, and frankly, you're exhausting. The words hit harder than the box ever could. Exhausting. A burden. Eden's throat burned. Naomi, you need to take these back. Now. But Naomi wasn't listening. She was already in the hallway, setting the box down with a satisfied sigh. This room will be perfect. So much light. I'll just need to get rid of those curtains. You've always had terrible taste in decor. Something inside Eden cracked. Get out. Naomi blinked, the smile faltering. Excuse me? You heard me. Take your boxes and get out. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Before Naomi could reply, footsteps sounded on the porch. Their mother appeared, followed closely by their father, both carrying more bags. Oh, good, their mother said, beaming. You're both here. We brought a few things Naomi didn't want to leave behind. Where should we put them? Eden's pulse thundered. You're helping her? Of course we are, her father said, his voice calm but firm. She needs support. You should be grateful we're stepping in instead of letting you handle it alone. Grateful? Eden's voice rose despite herself. You've been plotting this behind my back. You didn't even ask me. Her mother set a hand on her arm, the smile fading into steel. Stop making this harder than it needs to be. You're embarrassing yourself. The words sliced through Eden, but before she could answer, another car pulled into the driveway. Her aunt stepped out, waving cheerily, a casserole dish in her hands. Behind her came two cousins, carrying yet more boxes. The porch filled with chatter, laughter, the shuffle of feet on wood. To them, it wasn't an invasion, it was a celebration. Eden stood in the middle of it all, numb, watching as her home filled with voices that weren't hers, hands touching walls and counters as though they already owned them. Naomi directed traffic, her smile returning in full force as she barked playful orders. Put that in the back. Oh, careful with the art supplies. Those are fragile. Eden, could you move, please? You're in the way. In the way. Her chest tightened, breath shallow. She wanted to scream, to throw the boxes into the yard, to shake them until they understood. But her voice wouldn't come. By evening, the house looked like a storage unit. Boxes lined the hallway, bags covered the living room floor, furniture had been nudged aside to make space. Eden sat on the edge of the couch, her body rigid, her head pounding. And then, as if the day hadn't been cruel enough, Naomi posted a picture on social media. The photo showed her standing in the living room. Within minutes, the comments poured in. Friends congratulated her. Relatives chimed in with hearts and clapping emojis. One even wrote, "So proud of you both. Eden, you're such a generous sister." The humiliation burned hotter than any fire. They didn't see her silence. They didn't see the truth. To the world, she was complicit, smiling in the background of a story she hadn't agreed to write. The next day, the confrontation spilled beyond the walls of her house. She went to the grocery store, desperate for a sliver of normalcy, but as she pushed her cart down the aisle, she caught whispers behind her. That's the one who wouldn't take her sister in. I heard she made Naomi beg. Who does that to family? Her hands tightened on the cart until her knuckles ached. She kept her eyes on the shelves, the labels blurring. Every step felt heavier, the aisles stretching endlessly before her. At the checkout, The cashier gave her a look, sympathy tinged with judgment. Eden forced a smile, her cheeks burning, and left without a word. By the time she reached home, she was shaking. Naomi's car was in the driveway again. Inside, more of Naomi's belongings littered the floor. Eden's sanctuary was gone, swallowed whole by a narrative she couldn't control. That night, the final blow came. Her parents had organized another family dinner, this time at her aunt's house. Eden hadn't wanted to go, but staying away would only feed their accusations. She arrived tense, her stomach knotted, bracing for impact. The dining room buzzed with chatter, laughter, the clatter of silverware. But the moment she stepped inside, the air shifted. Conversations hushed, eyes flicked toward her, then away. Naomi stood near the head of the table, radiant in the glow of attention. She looked every bit the victim turned heroine, her voice carrying easily across the room. It's just been so hard, you know? I never thought my own sister would turn her back on me. But I guess some people care more about their pride than their family. A murmur of agreement rippled through the guests. Heads nodded, eyes narrowed toward Eden. Don't forget to like and drop a comment. If this is your first time here, hit that subscribe button. Heat rushed to her face. That's not true, she said, louder than she meant to. Naomi turned smoothly, her expression perfectly wounded. Isn't it? You've made it very clear where you stand. Everyone here knows how cold you've been. Her aunt placed a hand on Naomi's shoulder, shaking her head. We're just trying to understand you, Eden. Why would you treat your sister this way? She's been through enough. Voices piled on, questions, accusations, pity for Naomi dripping from every word. Eden's protests tangled in her throat, drowned out by the rising tide of judgment. She stood there, exposed, stripped bare in front of people who had already chosen sides. Her cheeks burned, her hands trembled. No matter what she said, they didn't want the truth. They wanted a villain, and she fit the role too easily. In the corner of the room, she caught sight of her father watching silently, arms crossed, expression unreadable. He didn't defend her. None of them did. The humiliation was complete. She excused herself early, barely making it to her car before the tears came. She gripped the steering wheel, sobs tearing out of her, chest heaving. The words she had buried for weeks clawed at her throat. She couldn't stay silent anymore. If she didn't speak soon, the lie would consume her whole. She wiped her face with shaking hands, staring at her reflection in the dark window. Her eyes were swollen, her cheeks streaked, but beneath the wreckage, there was something else. A flicker of resolve. They wanted her to be the villain. But when she finally spoke the truth, they'd see the story differently. They had to. The truth clawed at her chest all night, refusing to let her sleep. Eden lay in the dark.